Welcome to Ready Lesson 11 for 8th grade, Analyzing Word Choices. In this lesson, we are going to analyze the impact of specific word choices on meaning and tone, including analogies or allusions to other texts. Have you ever explained something by saying, "it's just like"? If so, you were making a comparison or analogy to help someone understand an unfamiliar thing or idea. Similarly, have you ever gone to a new or odd place and heard someone say, "we're not in Kansas anymore"? That was an allusion, a reference to an event or character in a literary work. In this case, the words were borrowed from Dorothy in The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. Allusions and analogies are just two examples of how writers carefully choose words to express their ideas. An author's word choice can create vivid mental images that directly affect your understanding of a text's meaning. Look at one student's response to a history assignment. What does the student's word choice, including the use of analogy and allusion, tell you about the pioneer's journey? Imagine yourself as an American pioneer, leaving behind everything you know. You set out in a horse-drawn wagon, traveling westward across miles of treeless land. The wagons in front of you trudge forward in a straight line, like exhausted hikers climbing an endless mountain path. Though you are not alone, your wagon seems to be no more than a dot on the plains, as small and alone as Odysseus' ship on the vast dark sea. Underline the allusion and the analogy in the text above, then read the chart below to see how the word choice affects the text meaning. Well, I see my first analogy here where it says that you are like exhausted hikers climbing an endless mountain path. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to underline that. Now this is an analogy, and the impact on the meaning is that it helps the reader visualize the lines of wagons and connects to the idea of going on a long, slow journey. Now, I see another comparison where they talk about Odysseus' ship on the vast dark sea. This is an allusion because it's referring to Odysseus, who is a character in the Odyssey, which is a type of, is a literary epic, which is a poem. And so this allusion compares the pioneer's journey to Odysseus' 10-year journey homeward on the ancient Greek epic, the Odyssey, which elevates it to quote-unquote epic proportions, which shows how grand of a journey they're taking. Think about how this text would have been different if the author had just written that the wagons were moving slowly or that the journey was long and lonely. How would that change in word choice affect your mental image of the paragraph? When authors add analogies and allusions to a text, they encourage readers to make connections to broader or more familiar ideas. Making these connections gives the new text richer layers of meaning. So let's move on. It says, read the first two paragraphs of a biography of Amelia Earhart. Amelia Earhart, First in Flight. Okay, so let's read Amelia Earhart, First in Flight. As a young girl, Amelia Earhart kept a scrapbook of articles about women known for great accomplishments in fields otherwise dominated by men, such as film directing, law, and mechanical engineering. Was this what propelled her to excel later, or was it simply an early sign that she was born to excel? Though Earhart's fascination with air navigation did not begin until she was in her early 20s, she pursued her course as ardently as Olympic athletes pursue their goals. Her list of firsts is long. Her list of firsts is long and impressive. In 1928, she was the first woman to fly across the Atlantic, though she did not pilot that flight. Then in 1932, she became the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic. As a result, she was the first woman to receive a Distinguished Flying Cross, a Medal of Honor from Congress. 3 years later, she became the first person to fly solo across the Pacific. Such firsts laid the foundation for her ultimate challenge to fly around the world. So it says, explore how to answer this question. Select one word and one phrase from this biography. What is the impact of both the word and the phrase of the biography's meaning and tone? Sorry about that. So it says smart authors choose their words and phrases carefully. They want such words and phrases to have specific effects on their readers to get their readers to think and feel a certain way. So it says the chart below shows an analysis of the impact of the word excel on the text. Analyze the analogy in the second row by determining its impact on the text meaning and tone. Now I see the word excel is actually used a couple of times in the first paragraph because it says, was this what propelled her to excel later, or was she born to excel? Now the impact on this meaning is that it leads readers to expect that Earhart did more than just achieve her goals. She went far beyond. Sorry about that again. I'm trying to do this after school and they keep on calling names. Anyway, the impact on the tone is that excel has a positive. Sorry again. Excel has a positive connotation and the author seems to admire Earhart. Again, sorry. So now let's look at the word choice for the phrase, as ardently as Olympic athletes pursue their goals. Now, I know that Olympic athletes, they are people who are very successful in their fields, and they often set goals or records, and they're trying to compete to beat those goals. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put that for the impact on the meaning. So the author places Earhart in company with Olympic athletes who are people who are very successful in their fields and often set records. Now, the impact on the tone is obviously both the word ardently and Olympic athletes have positive connotations. This emphasizes the author's admiring tone. So go ahead and write that in. If you need to, go ahead and pause and then write that in. So let's continue reading about Amelia Earhart. In this part of the closed reading, they want us to underline an allusion that suggests the tone. Earhart's first attempt at circling the globe not only failed, but failed disastrously. Yet 3 months later, in June 1937, she and her navigator risked a second attempt in a freshly rebuilt plane. The flight's events were all well documented based on refueling stops and radio communications. But in the last leg of the trip, Earhart had to fly 2,500 miles over the Pacific and then locate and land on a tiny island to refuel. Clouds made accurate navigation difficult. Then, after radio contact ceased at 8:45 a.m. on July 2nd, information about the plane's whereabouts became mere guesswork. As in the story of Icarus, the mythical creature or figure who plunged into the ocean when his wax wings melted, Earhart's greatest challenge became her final flight. So for those of you who don't know, Icarus was a character in Greek mythology, and he kind of became a legendary character. So let's look at the close read. So obviously the allusion that we see here is this reference to Icarus. So we're going to go ahead and underline that right there. And now let's move on to the question. So it says, how does the allusion to Icarus support the author's tone? So A says it makes it clear that Earhart, like Icarus, fell to her death. B says it emphasizes Earhart's failure in spite of her ambition. C says it stresses that the authors view Earhart's fate as mystery. And D says it shows the author sees Earhart as kind of a legend. So let's go ahead and let's do process of elimination to figure out the answer. So A says it makes it clear that Earhart, like Icarus, fell to her death. Well, the author doesn't state directly that that Earhart fell to her death, and it also doesn't reflect the author's tone in the text. So A would not be the best answer. B says it emphasizes Earhart's failure in spite of her ambition. The allusion in the author's tone do not emphasize failure, so that wouldn't be the best answer. C says it stresses that the authors view Earhart's fate as a mystery. Well, it doesn't indicate a mystery, so C wouldn't be the best choice. D says it shows the author sees Earhart as kind of a legend. Well, the author's tone shows that she admires Earhart, and the allusion compares Earhart to Icarus, who was a legendary figure, so D would be the best answer choice. So you would, in your show your thinking, you would explain why your choice is the best explanation of how the Icarus allusion affects the text tone. So like we said, the author's tone shows that she admires Earhart, and so this allusion does compare Earhart to Icarus, who is a legendary figure, and so therefore, with the positive connotation of the words, it shows the tone of admiration, and that's why that was the best answer choice. So go ahead and put that into your own words into the show your thinking section. Okay, meet me here for part 2 for the guided practice where we read the Trans-Pacific Passage towards the Gold Field.